Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Brandon, also known as Super Fanboy Guy, and this is going to be episode 11 of the Playground series. Now, for some of you that don't know what the Playground series is, it is a series of videos that I do on my YouTube channel where I take a Versus System TCG deck. I take some of the popular decks that people kind of play a lot, and I actually playtest it for you here on this wonderful interface here known as Octagon. And Octagon is obviously a kind of like a downloadable application slash software where you could play old discontinued card games. So you could play like the Dragon Ball Z score game, but most importantly, you can also play Versus System. And what I wanted to do today's deck on was this is going to be what I call Spider-Freinds version 2.0. This is going to be a more competitive Spider-Man build. The deck is also known as Spider Stall, as some of you may have heard it, throughout the community as well. The theme of this deck, as the name says, is to stall your opponent out to later games. So Spider-Freinds is known for having a lot of exhausting effects, such as, exhaust your opponent's character with cost X or less. Also want to note that this is the first recorded video that I'm doing of 2023. I posted some other videos earlier this year on my channel, but those were already recorded in 2022. Some of the cards that we have to exhaust would be example this 6-drop Spider-Man, activate, exhaust target character with cost 4 or less. Another one that we have is this 4-drop Spider-Man, which is KO Spider-Man, target a player exhaust a ready character he controls. And then at the start of the recovery phase this turn, he gets to you get to put him back from the KO pile to your play, and you can only use his effect during the combat phase. So a really good way to reoccur that character so you can exhaust it for next turns. And then the big Spider-Man card in the deck, in my opinion, is this 3-drop Spider-Man that we have 4 copies of. He is definitely the key part to this deck because he has the ability, characters named Spider-Man, you control enters the play with 2 web counters, and then you can remove X web counters from characters named Spider-Man you control. Exhaust any number of target characters with combined X or less, use this only once per turn. So this goes really good with this 4-drop Spider-Man because you play him on turn 3, you get 2 web counters, and you play him on turn 4, and you get 2 web counters. So you can remove 2 web counters, exhaust a 2-cost character, for an example, and then you can KO him so they have to exhaust another character. But wait a minute, we can't really do that because they are both named Spider-Man, so the unique rule applies when you recruit them during the combat phase. Well, let me just mention that we have this beautiful Scarlet Spider card, which other Spider-Freinds characters you control get +2 attack while attacking. That's not really the relevant ability here. It's the next one below him, which is you get to reveal him from your hand. Character cards named Spider-Man are not unique this turn. Use this power only if Scarlet Spider is in your hand. So keep in mind that when you use this ability, that does count for your opponent's Spider-Man character cards as well. So if you're playing against a mirror match or another type of Spider-Freinds deck, their Spider-Mans will be unique if you use this effect. So another Spider-Man that we have in this deck is we have this 5-drop Spider-Man, which is discard a character card, target opposing character loses and can't have powers and keywords this turn, use only once per turn. He has loyalty and reservist, and loyalty is really not a big problem since we do have a lot of Spider-Freinds characters. But let's kind of talk about some of the so how can we get some of these Spider-Man cards? Well, there's actually a couple ways we could do it. We have this Aunt May, which everybody who's listened to my YouTube videos or listens to the podcast know that when she comes to play, you can search for a Spider-Man card, reveal it, and put it in your hand. And then you can also discard a character card rather than pay her recruit cost if you needed to use that effect. But she's the way that we search for Spider-Man. Also, we have Indebted to play discard a card. If you discard a card named Spider-Man, search your deck for a Spider-Freinds character. Otherwise, search your deck for a character named Spider-Man, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So, very good search card for our deck because we could discard a Spider-Man and get a Spider-Freinds like that Scarlet Spider, which is pretty much what I do for most of the time. Or if you want to just get another Spider-Man card, you can do that as well. And, I also did forget to mention that another Spider-Man card we have is the 7-drop, and he has loyalty, flight range, pay X attack, exhaust target character with attack X or less, used only once per turn. So you could pay 16 attack to exhaust a character that is 16 power, just as an example. And so let's talk about some of the other big combos of the deck. So one of the combos we have is this Black Cat. It has evasion. Plot twist costs your opponents 2 more to play. So if it's a 1 cost, they need 3 resources to play it. And then that is good with in combination with bad press. Its locations cost your opponents 1 more to flip, and plot twist cost your opponents 1 more to flip. So this is kind of part of that stall strategy of trying to not take a lot of damage from your opponent's characters. So we want to try to stall for the later turn. So I bet you're wondering why do we want to stall for in this deck? Well, the big finisher of the deck is going to be this Coriander Starfire Zal's Fury. She has reservist flight range. At the start of the recovery phase, stun all opposing characters. So her effect is similar to the Onslaught, the 9-drop that says when you choose a team affiliation, you stun all characters of the chosen team affiliation. But this is also a lot more effective, and it's only a turn 7, which I believe the Onslaught is a turn 9, if I'm not mistaken. And one really cool thing you can do with this deck while you have her, let's say on turn 7, you have her on the field, and your opponent decides to stun her. Well, you also have this card, the Beyonder, which you could remove him and another card in your hand from the game, and you get to recover a target stun character if there are no other cards named Beyonder removed from the game, and you can only use it if he's in your hand. So it is good for like a it's a one-time use deal, but sometimes if you need to recover her and make her effect go off, that could be really good. And the other thing about this deck, we also play this Lex Luthor just in case if our opponent has any annoying payment powers that we don't want them to use. We play this 6-drop Human Torch as kind of a backup for, not having the characters that we control can't be the target of opposing effects. Also, it's you and your character's control. So if they try to do like what's the name of that card? Surprise attack? I don't know. If they try to deal for you for direct damage, if you have this Human Torch out, they obviously can't do that. So we will also talk about, now you'll notice in this deck that we play the trifecta, as we called it in our podcast, which is Soul World, Slaughter Swamp, and Avalon Space Station. And pretty much these are just cards that allow us to get cards back from the KO pile to our hand. So we use cards like Straight to the Grave to search for characters in our deck to put them in our KO pile. So it's another way to search for characters that we can put them in their hand. So it's good for like the non-Spider-Freinds characters like Coriander or Beyonder or even Lex Luthor or Human Torch if we need to get those cards. So that's kind of like the other search combo of the deck is Straight to the Grave with these cards as well. And then this is something new that I put into the deck, and it's a No Man Escapes the Manhunters. Target character gets -3 defense while defending this turn. If that character is hidden, his controller moves it to the visible area. And the reason why I mostly use this card is because in case if I had to deal with concealed characters, I just think this was a good thing to have in the deck. And then also something new that I added was I added 3 copies of gift wrap. To play exhaust a character named Spider-Man you control, exhaust any number of target characters with combined cost 6 or less, with a combined cost less than or equal to that Spider-Man. So if you exhaust, let's say, a 7-drop Spider-Man, you can exhaust, their big 7-drop or a 6 and a 1-drop, a 5 and a 2-drop, or whatever combination you want. So that's why I've been playtesting this really well, and I've been playtesting this deck a lot, and this card has been doing very well for me. So I think it's a nice addition to have. And another card that we have is Death of the Dream, to get rid of face-up resources that are probably problematic. Resources such as Omnipotence, which if they choose a card name, then you can't use the payment powers of that card or play a plot twist of the chosen name. So most likely they can either name the Scarlet Spider or the Zombie Spider-Man. That's kind of been what my friends have named when I played this deck. And then another card that we can use to get cards from our graveyard to a hand is Messiah Complex. You know, just it returns a character card from your KO pile to your hand, and if you can pay the boost cost, exhaust 2 characters to gain endurance equal to the cost of the card. So a really good combo is we can gain potentially 10 endurance with the Beyonder if he's in our KO pile, which is really nice. And another search card that we have in the deck is Enemy of My Enemy, which is everybody who's probably watched my videos know what this does. So I'm not even going to say it. I'm just going to leave it up there for everybody to read who doesn't know what it is. But it's also a very good search card for the deck as well, just to help us. We can discard a Spider-Freinds and get maybe Starfire out for an example. But I know I went kind of fast on the deck profile, but I didn't want to get into a lot of detail because everybody kind of has an idea what everything does. So anyway, that is kind of the deck right there. And I'm going to go ahead and shuffle this deck up and play test it for you. Okay, let's go ahead and play this deck. We're just going to do a couple of quick shuffles here. And let's go ahead and let's flip a coin because I feel this deck could be good on the odd or even initiative. So let's just go ahead and flip a coin. And we will say heads will take odd. And up, it is heads, so we'll take odd. So let's go ahead and draw 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. I think this hand is a mulligan. We just don't have enough character cards out, and I mean the indebted is really tempting to keep when with a gift wrap, but I am actually gonna mulligan this hand. Okay, not bad. I think we could work with this. So let's go ahead and draw our 2 cards, and then you immediately want to play this face down, and then normally with bad press I immediately flip it up. So that way, because when you play and flip it, they can't respond to it. So we can do that. And then we have our 1-drop Aunt May, which we're going to play. And we're going to search for a Spider-Man. And you definitely, if you don't have the 3-drop, you should definitely prioritize getting the 3-drop. So we'll go ahead and do that. And close and shuffle. And then that'll be it for our build. And obviously our opponent would take their turn building. And the only bad thing about this Aunt May, she has a 0/1, so she can't do damage, which kind of is understandable because she has a really awesome effect. So, okay, so let's go to turn 2 and draw our 2 cards. And, okay, this is cool. So drawing Slaughter Swamp was really good because we can combo that with Straight to the Grave to get our cards. But, okay, so it's our opponent's initiative this turn, so they play their resource, and then they play their characters if they have any. And then on our turn, we're going to go ahead and just play the Slaughter Swamp in our resource row. And we obviously don't have a 2, and I don't think it's worth playing Straight to the Grave. Play Slaughter Swamp plus Slaughter Swamp. Sorry, guys, I'm kind of tongue-tied on this video. I'm kind of slipping, so I do apologize for that. So I am not going to use this or this yet because I think I'd rather wait to see if we can get other cards. So missing your turn 2 is also not the worst for this deck. So, okay, let's say they play a 2-drop, they attack, maybe they stun Aunt May, and we take some damage there, and then we go to recovery. And so turn 3 is going to be Argo, so we're going to draw 1 and 2. Okay, let's go ahead and put Straight to the Grave in our resource row. And we'll just do the Control P so we can take a peek at it. And then we are going to play the Spider-Man. And he's going to come into play with 2 web counters because, yes, that ability counts for himself, which is cool. And we have web counters, which is Control 6, so I got to remember that shortcut. All right, there we go. So he's got 2 web counters. And then we would obviously form something like this. And depending on how their field is, when they play, well, they would probably go to their build phase, play their 3-drop if they had one. And depending on what they did, we could have Spider-Man attack for some little bit of damage. We don't want to use his ability to remove the web counters yet because we are not really in a position to do that. And even if they stun the Spider-Man and the Aunt May this turn for whatever reason, we would just lose an Aunt May. but let's just say they don't. So let's just go to the next turn, which is going to be turn 4, and we're going to draw 1 and 2. Okay, Empire State University is definitely something you want to draw on turn 2, but we drew it on turn 4. So we can start getting our value engine going here. So it's turn 4, our opponent plays a resource and does their turn. And then we're going to go ahead and obviously play this. And before I use the straight to the grave Slaughter Swamp combo, I am actually going to do this Empire State on AMA. And we're going to look at 1 and 2 cards. And now this is kind of interesting because we could take Beyonder if we wanted to. That was my first thought. But since we don't have a 5-drop Spider-Man right now, or even our 4-drop Spider-Man, it might be worth it to take Aunt May and pay the alternate recruit cost and discarding this extra 3-drop Spider-Man. Alternatively, what we could do is we could take the Aunt May, put her in our hand, play her for 1 resource point, search for a Spider-Man, and then play the 3-drop Spider-Man after we reveal with Scarlet Spider, of course. But I think what I want to do, let's go ahead and put the Beyonder to the bottom of the deck, and then I'm going to take Aunt May and put her in my hand. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to discard for alternate recruit costs to search for a Spider-Man. And obviously when we do that, this one gets KO'd because of the uniqueness rule. So let's go ahead and get that zombie Spider-Man into our hand. And then we're going to reveal with him for the effect. And then we're going to play the zombie Spider-Man, so they're not unique this turn. And he comes into play with 2 web counters. And then we're going to form something like this because most likely we're going to KO with the zombie Spider-Man this turn. So on turn 4, let's say they decide to declare an attack with their 2-drop character. We could remove the 2 web counters from him to exhaust that character. And then if they try to do an attack, we can also activate and KO him so that they have to exhaust a character they control. And most likely, maybe they just hit Spider-Man with 1 character, which we could reinforce with Aunt May if that's a possible line we can do. But I think in this case, that's a pretty decent turn 4, I think. And this is another reason why you want to go on the odd initiative, because you get to play the zombie Spider-Man and exhaust characters during their combat phase first, which could be pretty good. So okay, so let's say they're not able to stun our characters because we exhausted everybody. And also remember that his ability is only once per turn, so we can't take off these web counters off the Spider-Man to exhaust another character, for example. But okay, so let's go ahead and go to turn 5, and we'll go ahead and ready, and this Spider-Man will come back into play. And for some of you that don't know, the uniqueness rule only applies during the recruit step. It doesn't count for anywhere outside of the recruit step. So this is why they wouldn't get KO'd. So just wanted to clarify that for anybody who was wondering. So, okay, so let's go to turn 5. We'll draw our 2 cards. Okay, let's go ahead and activate Empire State University and look at the top 2. I just got that in there. Oh, that's weird. I just put him back. All right, so what I think I want to do is I want to put Beyonder. Yeah, this is actually kind of interesting. So on turn 5, we have a couple of options we can do. We can do the straight to the grave, Slaughter Swamp combo to get our 5-cost character, or alternatively, what we can do is we can reveal Scarlet Spider and play another 4-drop Spider-Man. And I actually also forgot to mention one of the changes that I made to the deck as well was I added more copies of this Spider-Man zombie. And the reason why I did that, because he's really good against the aggro decks like, the Brotherhood deck or the Shield Burn deck because he can exhaust multiple little army guys. So that's also something to consider. But I think since we already revealed twice with this Beyond there, I think it's a sign that we're supposed to take it. So I'm actually gonna take it and put it in our hand. Although I really feel like I should take another gift wrap because it doesn't hurt. But anyway, well, actually, maybe not because we already have 2 in our hand. But all right, so let's go ahead and put 1 into our resource row. And actually, you know what? Maybe getting the other 5-drop Spider-Man is not a bad idea. But yet, we may want to save this for the Starfire on turn 7. So I am actually going to do that, I think. I'm going to reveal Scarlet Spider to say that Spider-Man's not unique this turn. And now I just thought about something else after I just did that. So we also have this Messiah complex, which can get our Starfire. So maybe I do kind of want to get my 5-drop this turn. So we'll go ahead and flip straight to the grave. And we'll look at all the cards in our deck. And let's go ahead and put... Now, we could put either Lex Luthor or Spider-Man, depending on what your opponent has on your board and depending on what deck he's playing. But then we can go ahead and flip up Slaughter Swamp, and we're actually going to discard the Beyonder because maybe we might have the chance to gain some endurance later in the game. So he comes into our hand, and since I revealed him, we're going to play Spider-Man. So the 5-drop Spider-Man comes into play, and we are going to give him some web counters. And I guess my formation like this is fine. I mean, maybe I want to go something like this. I don't know. But it's going to be our attack first, so it probably won't matter. So, okay, and depending on what they do, you could definitely have... So what we decided to do, we could probably have our 5-drop Spider-Man attack like their 4-drop or their 3-drop and be okay if it becomes available. And let's say they take their damage there. And now what we could do is we can remove any number of web counters to exhaust one of their characters. So maybe for an example, let's say it's their 4-drop. So we can take to... maybe we can exhaust let's say we take off these to exhaust their 4-drop. We activate KO Zombie Spider-Man, so maybe they're forced to exhaust their 5-drop character. And then they can't do anything else really. So we can then go to recovery. So he would come back with the 2 web counters on him. So we go to recovery. And we draw 2 cards. 1 and 2. All right. So turn 6 is their build. So they're going to go ahead and do their stuff and play their 6-cost character. And we are going to go ahead and do our thing. Now, another thing, let me line these up a little bit easier right here. Now, we do have this Human Torch that's in our hand that we could play on turn 6. But I actually kind of like the idea of maybe getting the 6-drop Spider-Man that we have. But let's go ahead and activate this first and see what we hit here. And look at that. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay, so we're going to put that at the bottom of the deck. We go ahead and reveal this Scarlet Spider. So our Spider-Man is not unique this turn. And we'll just go ahead and play this Spider-Man. And this is another change that I made to the deck that wasn't in the original build. So we're going to go ahead and play him. And let's go ahead and form something like this. Yeah. Okay, so then it's our opponent's attack. So they might do something where they try to attack with their 4-drop. So if that's what they do, we can activate him to exhaust their 4-drop. And then we can also remove some web counters to exhaust, another one of their characters. So maybe we remove that, and that to exhaust their characters. Now, we also have these gift wraps that we can also use as well. So let's say, for an example, that maybe the web counters, we remove only the web counters from him to exhaust a 2-drop. And then we can. Actually, the gift reps you want to save for the later turns for sure. Because you want to make sure your opponent's not able to attack so you can play your Starfire, which is what we're going to show next turn. So let's say we activate him. He gets KO'd, they exhaust something, and they have no characters to do. Or maybe if they have another big character, they might do some attacking into Aunt May, Spider-Man, or whoever. But let's say for some reason that they're able to attack Aunt May, and we take let's say she becomes stunned. Now, if she becomes stunned by turn 6, what I would do is I would not recover her, because the main reason why is because you don't want to have 1-cost characters out late in the game, because it just becomes an easy attack target and you can start taking more damage. In the Spider-Freinds deck, if you have your cards set up well enough, that may not be an issue. But that's also something to consider, playing with this game. So, playing with this deck. So, okay, let's go to recovery phase, and we get our zombie Spider-Man back, and he gets the web counters back on him. And let's just say, I guess we'll recover Aunt May, but she probably would be KO'd at this point. So let's go ahead and, let's go ahead and ready that, and draw 2 more cards. Okay, I want to go ahead and activate this on Aunt May. Reveal 1 and 2. Okay. Not ideal draws, but I guess it's better than nothing. We're going to do that to the bottom of the deck. And then turn 7 is ours since we took the odd initiative. Okay, I am going to... Oh, you know what? We don't have another Slaughter Swamp, do we? Or we don't have another Straight to the Grave. Oh, that's a bummer. Okay, that's fine. We'll just do... Actually, let's play this one in the resource row. And then let's go ahead and reveal this Scarlet Spider. And we'll play this other Spider-Man, so he'll get 2 more web counters. Now, if you don't have your Starfire, which is really your finisher in the deck, you can always just play the Spider-Man to kind of help soak up, to do some stall stuff. But, okay, so let's say we played our, and actually, I guess we can do something like this, maybe. So you can see as of right now, we got a lot of protection for our character cards because, well, that we have a lot of cards that can stall our opponent. We have the 6-drop Spider-Man that we can exhaust. We could pay the X attack to exhaust a character with attack X or less. We have the zombie Spider-Man that we can KO as well. And then we also have these gift wraps down here. So let's say they try to attack our 7-drop into our 1-drop. Well, what I would do is I would activate gift wrap. Now, the only card that really hurts the spider stall deck is Pathetic Attempt, because we can gift wrap, exhaust the character, and they Pathetic Attempt. It kind of puts us in an awkward position. That's why the Omnipotence that we have in the deck, that's probably the card that we want to call is Pathetic Attempt. So that way it doesn't really hurt our deck. But let's say we do that on their 7-cost character, it gets exhausted. They maybe attack with their 6-cost character. We can pay the attack to exhaust that character, and let's say they try to attack with their 4-drop. Well, we could activate Spider-Man to exhaust that 4-drop, and then we can maybe maybe remove some web counters to exhaust their 2-drop if they have one, and then activate him to KO to exhaust their character. So we're in a good spot at this point. So if we do that line for an example, and then at the end of the turn, we could probably discard the zombie Spider-Man, and we can get the Beyonder back to our hands. That is one thing we can do. The other thing we could do is somehow, if we can exhaust 2 characters to gain the endurance back from that Beyonder, we could do that as well. But let's go ahead and go to next turn. So Spider Zombie will come back. And since with the 3-drop Spider-Man's effect, he'll get 2 web counters on him. And let's go ahead and go to recovery. And let's draw 2 more cards. All right, we got the enemy, which is really good. But maybe we might find the Starfire here, so let's find out. 1 and 2. I am going to take a Spider-Man in this case because we might... It's always good to have him in case you need to power up or something like that. Can I look at it? Did I? I just want to look at my graveyard before I decide what to do. Okay. So we're going to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's play this enemy, I guess. We'll play it in our resource row, and then we'll go ahead and flip it. Enemy of my enemy. Let's discard Lex Luthor. And we are going to go ahead and get our Starfire. There she is. She goes into our hand. And then we're definitely going to be recruiting her this turn. And that would be it for our build. And actually, it's turn 8, so they would build first, and then we would play our stuff, and then play Starfire. So now, if they go to try to attack us, we have a couple of things we could do. So we can... Okay, so let's say, for an example, they have... I'm just saying this, by turn 8, they have maybe a 5, a 6, a 7, and an 8 drop character. Let's say a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they have 5 characters out. So what we could do is you can remove... Now, this is going to be the turn that you're... As soon as you get the Starfire into play, is most likely the turn you're going to win. So this is the point where you can start like removing all your web counters to exhaust like a big character. So maybe we remove all the web counters from all of our Spider-Men to exhaust their 8 drop, since we have 8 web counters here. And now keep in mind too that you can remove 8 web counters and exhaust, for an example, like a 5 and a 5 cost character and a 3 cost character. So that way you're exhausting more characters. So that way, like if they have one character that's not exhausted, you can exhaust it with the Spider-Man, for an example, the zombie Spider-Man that is. So let's say we exhaust their 8 drop. Now we can activate this Spider-Man to exhaust their 4 drop. We can flip up a gift wrap to exhaust maybe their 7 drop character, and then KO activate KO zombie Spider-Man to exhaust their other character, and then maybe take a little bit of damage somewhere if we can't exhaust everybody that we can. But I think in that case we were able to get pretty close to it. And then what you can also do is Starfire has flight and range, so maybe attack a character for damage if you feel like you could deal more damage than when her stun ability goes off. But anyway, so let's say we go to the end of the start of the recovery phase, and hey, they take a bunch of damage because they have a bunch of characters that are face up. So yeah, that's pretty much how you play this deck. There's a couple of obviously some cool combos you can do with it. And the thing that I love about Spider-Freinds is anybody can make any version of Spider-Freinds that they want. And you know, I've seen many different decks that I haven't talked about on either the podcast or shown on my YouTube channel that people have made that are just like so ridiculously fun and silly versions of it. But that's going to be it for this video. So hopefully you all learned a little bit about this deck and you want to kind of play it yourself. This is definitely the most competitive deck that I play in Versus System. It's a super fun deck, and as everybody probably knows me on this channel, I'm a big Spider-Man fan. You know, Spider-Man's just been an important character in my life since I was a kid, and I always just had a passion for him. So it's really fun to play this deck, and it's awesome to show everybody this deck for this episode of the Playground series. So that's about it. If you guys want to, you know, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what some of your favorite Spider-Freinds cards are. Like, is there cards in this deck that should be in there? So thanks everybody, and I'll see you all in the next video.